A very simple interface here. That helps, I guess. I'm going to assume that it does, in fact, help. Maybe it just makes things worse. I don't know. You visually recognize the red one. Well, there's a couple of red ones, so I think I understand what you're saying. Anyway, yes, this is Touhou Library Survivors. You play as Patchouli, or as one of my friends pronounced it like not 20 years ago. Fuck me. More like 15 years ago, pronounced it as Patchouli, and I just remember that for reasons. So she's probably not watching this because I haven't heard from her in eons, but you know, expect me to quietly make fun of the weeb who was like younger than I am and still is younger than I am. That's really how linear time works. Anywho, so you can see we've got a couple of difficulties here, and we can sub through these. I mean, these are basically like different characters, right? I guess that we actually only have a bonus for damage on Monday because it's in theme with the character. That's kind of cute. And there's little talent trees for what I'm assuming to be each of these different shot types. We just can't afford these yet because we don't have any of these books because we haven't dug them back out, I guess. Anyway, whatever the excuse there is to be had here. Okay, good. My taskbar was visible, not on stream, but just on my end, and I was like, that's weird. Let's just give this a go. I mean, how different can this possibly be to Vampire Survivors? Well, first of all, there's a lot more text already. And some very pencily drawings here. Okay, we gotta hold the button to shoot. It is not quite as Vampire Survivors-y as I thought, because that of course is sort of a autoplay-ish, which, I mean, some people will probably be like, that's not my thing, but hey. Ooh, okay, so there's a very complex looking system attached here. That's quite interesting. I guess it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we have a fan game, we got to add a little bit of spice to this. From a perspective of mechanics. Yeah, you can only take one at a time, which is fine, but good to know. Ah, I got an achievement for getting RNG. It's one of those, just a triggered effect, so yeah. Seems like it'd be most prudent for us to get a set of spells first, because of the fact that levels and stuff are acquired elsewhere. We can do that when we can start looking for the crit buff on the next level, I guess. And this being the type of game that it is, pardon me, hold up. Gotta use my words correctly here. Where I assumed that because of the series this is a game for, getting hit once is just an immediate death. There's no, like, real health meter aside from your 3 lives up there. Which I guess is flat number of hits. Which is not very Vampire Survivors-y. But hey. Do something like that. But that confirmation sound is like extremely Kingdom Hearts menu sounding. Wow, incoming nerd. Again. He's over here to be the person referring to anyone as a nerd, right? A choice. Something. Double check everything else here. The height of the Twitch thing over there, the chat box, needs to stop, like, bobbing up and down. It keeps confusing me. I didn't see an obvious blind spot that time. Oh, I guess I just didn't play that quite correctly. For some reason. Little bit off. Yeah, the vitality thing gives us more times we the you know what? Sure, we'll take the bouncing effect, even though I feel that upping the cost of our things is probably not such a smart idea here, because we are sort of butting up against stamina costs a little bit. Ah, whatever, I'm sure it's fine. Everything is fine, everybody. Except for the ways in which it's probably not. Yeah, if you empty the gauge, you have to wait until it refills in order to be able to fire again. It's like energy in the Armored Core series. This is a comparison that I know makes a lot of sense to people. Allowed to put that. Okay. Sort of look like it. That lasts for a while. It's okay, we got hit on the easy difficulty. Wow, takes away my license to anything. We got hit twice. Oops. Definitely could use a little bit more damage at this point if we are able. That is kind of a big if, though, but hey. That might start getting us somewhere. Take the extra level there. Because that also buffs the damage boost to the one. So it's like, hey, we get 2 boosts for that one card at once. That's pretty helpful, in theory. There we go. Oh, neat. We got a upgrade. We got an achievement for maxing out something. And we lost all 3 of our lives. Whoops. Only 6 minutes in the 6 minutes 15. That doesn't seem very long. Seems much shorter than I thought it would be. If you say so, game. I don't know how long any of that lasts. Just take a browse through a couple of the others here. See if any of the others seem any easier, and the answer is they're about the same, really. Same story every time, which is to be expected. There appears to be only the one stage in this, and it's just a matter of clearing it on the higher difficulty each time. Do something like this time. Something like this. That's okay. So it's a global upgrade for a chance. Gotcha. We can just place that wherever. Good to know. I don't think I had recognized the blue ones were global upgrades before. Helps to pay attention to everything in front of you, but I haven't been doing that, so. Nah, let's... Done carelessly. As usual. It's a little too easy for me to empty my meter with the spinning attack. Oops. I'll put that one up there. Because, okay, it reduces our max damage, which is not so good, but if it means that we get to activate stuff more often, well, we can fix the damage issue later. Our regen up there. coming back again this time. Oh, hey. And there's our damage enhancer. I think that's probably worth more than the level right now, as much as the level would be nice. See, then we get that. So I actually needed an inlet to approach from at this particular point. I don't have much of fun. Really. And that should give me a nice boost to everything, really. Oh, shit. You sure about that? Yeah, actually. I got touched like right at the top of the sprite, so that's how that goes. So this is definitely a case where we absolutely just want to spend a lot of time in the easy mode in order to actually get anywhere near having enough stuff to upgrade ourselves in order to be able to actually take on anything higher level. Which is probably a little bit dry, but hey. To be fair, that's kind of how you do it in like any of the roguelike type of games. Including Vampire Survivors. Okay, that does at least sort of aim towards enemies a little bit on its own. I guess look for an appropriately shaped trigger card, but No rerolls at the moment. Or ability to get that yet. Is a little bit... may stifle our ability to actually get that. Or any sort of rotation mechanic. I assume that there's nothing that gives us that by default. But there we go. That is, in fact, exactly what I'm looking for, because that attaches to all of those. I mean, it doesn't seem to be the easiest thing to, like, aim or anything, but whatever. If it seems to get the job done, that's something. That's it. A word choice, but hey. We're going to... that, I guess? No, that's fine. That there, I guess? I think that's probably a good place for it. Carefully now. It's a glint. I'll take the global upgrades, even if the singleton upgrades are probably stronger, depending on placement. I guess it'll vary based on where we get to later. Yeah, the level would have been nice, but just getting the stamina regen buff now would be very helpful instead. So, I'll worry about grabbing ability levels later, I guess. Go. Emotes, I mean, I guess they kind of look the part, don't they? Can't you say that? Oh, I don't know if you have an obvious blind spot the way you infamously do, Chirno. But that is kind of one of the other games, right? Anyway, hello, Retro. Slight problem that some of the music tracks just seem to be very off in terms of how they switch between each other, but I guess I'm not necessarily that perhaps there is sort of an upper limit on how much one should expect, I guess. Might be what I'm thinking of trying to say here. But good luck getting me to actually get the words out correctly, because I'm not good at that, as always. Oops. I was cutting it a little close there. Okay, yeah, I think that we can do things a little bit like this. There is sort of an ideal way to place all that stuff, surely. I just don't know what it is offhand. So that way we can gain, like, guaranteed 3 levels for everything. But again, if I could figure out what that was, well... Okay, that seems a little bit not what I'm looking for. We'll take the duration buff because it gives us more damage on a couple of our effects here, which is great. We're definitely hitting a point where we could really use that. Unfortunately, our amount of those that we can find are not very common. Oh boy, super bosses and ROM hacks. That's always a fun time, because I've seen some of those that there's definitely some design choices that go into those. Carefully now. It's a huge pocket of experience points. We should grab those real quick. That. Well, this is about where we got to the last time, so that's good. Necessarily mean we're playing better, but we're getting at least that far. That's something, at least. Yay! Yay, we did it. Hooray. Just that one. Let's boost. This is a good chunk of max stamina. So we should be able to keep firing for a good long chunk here. Plus, our regen is very high, since I managed to find enough stuff for that. Our firing rate on, like, everything could stand to be better, but boosting that is mostly like, hey, do you want to trade raw damage for it? It's like, no, just give me a smaller boost. That's fine. I'll be able to deal with that. So this is one we can take a stamina cost increase. Wait, weren't the Brave Blade and Chicken Knife in 5? Or am I making a mistake here? Were they added to 4? Were they also in 4 and I just completely do not remember them in 4? Oh, okay, so they've just been added to it. Okay. I gotcha. That makes more sense. I was like, wait a second. Chicken Knife is a... Because I remember that, and, like, I would have forgotten that under most circumstances, I think, just by virtue of the fact that I don't remember a lot of weird shit. But Seer released that video of the FF5 video where he's doing, like, the worst challenge that he can possibly think of, and I gotta tell you, it's a real doozy for anybody who's never seen that. I could pause the game and I could read off what the video title is, and you'll be like, you're fucking kidding me, aren't you? And I actually will not be kidding you this time. I've lied about a lot of things in the past, but not this. In fact, as soon as I'm in the clear here, hold up, I will pause this, so I'll go read this. So here's the title of this challenge video by this YouTuber named Seer, who swears more than I do, which is incredible. Can you beat Final Fantasy V without ever opening the menu, spending gil, or running? By the way, spoiler alert, he does it, but it is a 2.5-hour video. Rounding up, but... Yeah, so... Bro can't use jobs, among a few other things. He also can't save. He uses save states for reasons of just, like, only if he has to take a break. To prevent his computer from blowing up kind of thing. And not to save his progress. Oh, shit. This is getting a little bit too heavily clumped. This is about the part of things in a VS run where things get a little bit rough anyway, so... But yeah, basically all of Seer's challenge videos are kind of like absolutely wild in that sort of manner. Doesn't open the menu ever, however, is a new one by my estimation. Holy shit, that is a ridiculous thing. But I remember him very specifically mentioning the Brave Blade and the Chicken Knife in that video. And of course, the fact that he can't run from fights means that the Brave Blade was significantly better for him, whereas I think usually the average FF5 player is like, yeah, the Chicken Knife is a little better. That said, I'm also the sort of person who rarely runs from fights in RPGs, so I don't know if I'd actually always agree with that. I'd probably be the person who would end up being like, oh yeah, the Brave Blade is definitely better, even though it's clearly not. It just would happen to be more in my style. It does actually seem good, so... Take take that. Plus, it fires a decent chunk of projectiles. Spell card. It's critical. I mean, I don't know if I like having to tether that much to criticals, but hey. It's a reaction that's attached to multiple things, so it has a good chance of actually doing something, so that's great. Take that, I guess. We can get more crit chance elsewhere later. As needed, I suppose. Yes, Ion Storm. Can I move this? I cannot move that. That's unfortunate, because I would have loved to have that on 2 different triggers, but unfortunately, I've kind of messed with my build a little bit here. But hey. Just take this. Stamina. That's right. Stamina regen is going to really help because I am using a thing that does sort of reward me for holding the button for a long time, so the odds of me running out are very high. I guess having capacity would probably be better or something, but this is still quite useful in of itself. It's that. That'll be fine. Ourselves a nice little regen buff there by leveling up both of those at the same time. Oh yeah, that is doing work now. We're getting that back very fast. You keep at a distance so I can't use the saw on you. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Won't boost that one, but that's fine. It's the other two get something. put some level objects next to it whenever we get those. Ow, that's my bad. I was playing that a little bit bad. Yeah, unlike the equivalent in certain other games, this the Ion Storm does not have very much knockback. Not that one. There we go. Take that. Definitely use one of those extra life effects at some point, because I've been playing this part a little bit less well than I should have, that's for sure. Yeah, no extra lives for me, but we'll take a power boost. There we go, Vitality. That is something we need. Take that, recover several lives, and get a pretty nice boost there. In terms of experience, all coming down at once. Yeah, as much as... Nah, actually I will take the glint. I have multiple extra lives right now, so I feel safe to do that. Constitution boost. Which Admittedly, I might be getting to a point where I want more regen soon, but I'll hash that out when we get there. For now, I'm just sort of dealing with the positioning change here. Hey, there's our regen upgrade. Keep wanting to get those levels, but I keep seeing other things that are very important for me to get so that way I can level them later, and at least the catalyst seems to be quite common, so as it should be, but it's so important. And here's an instance where we don't get that. It is kind of a pity that I can't just say, hey, wait a second, but oh well. That reduces our damage, but gives us a lot more stamina. So ultimately, I think we'll be fine. Okay, maybe we won't be fine. Yeah, we were getting a little bit too crowded there, so that was a bit of an issue. In short. Because as soon as I said that those levels were common, the game was like, no, they're not. Thanks. Well, back we go. That. I don't think we've tried that one yet. Oh no, that one is... Yeah, now I recognize it. Just didn't seem like one that I'd had before. That there. And that very much limits our set of reactions that we can actually take, but if we manage to find the right shape one, we can get a lot of stuff done by having it in contact with all 5 of our other spells. And there we go. And I mean, sure, it's tied to crit rate, which, I mean, there's worse things it could be. It could be just pure luck. We can at least boost our critical hit rate. I haven't seen something for just pure trigger rate yet. Other than just have multiple things it can trigger. there. Take that. That might end up increasing our stamina expenditure a bit, but I'm sure that we'll find things that'll help us with that. Probably. I'm really hopeful anyway. Take that now. I wish I could lock the rebalance in for later, because that would be very helpful, but the damage reduction just feels too strong right now. Yeah, especially coming up on a mini-boss here. Okay, that works for me. Positioning like that. There we go. Glint is very, very good for us right now. Let's pick that up. Oh, I'm actually thinking I'm gonna put that. Yeah, I'm gonna put that over here, so that way I can get it can get an immediate buff. I mean, something about not necessarily being the most efficient with some of our buffs, but hey. It's fine, probably. We're cutting it a little bit close there. placed at a little better place. There we go. 50% stamina regen will help out quite a lot. Okay, be careful of the Master Spark. Oh, some of those solar flare shots are coming around again. That'll be a nice boost for a lot of things. That there. Be a great position for it if we get another catalyst, which at this point I gotta be like, it's an if as opposed to a when, because we saw last time after I was like, oh yeah, they're so common. The game was like, yeah, alright, bitch, about that. To which my response is basically, well, that's rude, but not a good timing for this to show up, but hey. It anyway. Ugh. That's my bad. So is that one. That was some very questionable play, to put it nicely. Also, I did notice at some point that there were stage markings for how far into any of these we were. And I don't think the game is doing a great job at telling me when we change stages. Like, the only real indicator you get is that the music is different. Which, okay, I hadn't been linking that to that whatsoever. In fact, in general, I think this game is not always necessarily the best at telling you when conditions change, period. If that makes sense as a statement. If it doesn't, well, oops. There, I guess. Unfortunately, we cannot get 2 levels from a placement of the level unit there, I assume. And just take the hit. Because it would be easier to be on the lower part of the field during a Master Spark. God, the yellow and purple ones are so durable at this point. That's Problematic. We did not get a lot of what we wanted for that. Eesh. At least these are accumulating at a decent rate. Well, I suppose decent rate anyway. Yeah, that'll do as a starter. That's because my tornado didn't fire. And I thought it would. But nope. Nope, 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 nope. So, thanks a lot, game. Thanks a lot, me, for not knowing what the timing is yet, I guess. But I don't want to take the blame for that. Are you kidding me? Go up there. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect or anything, but it will do. Plus, I think that the trigger cards can trigger each other, at least, so that's cool. It's quite useful. Yeah, that'll do. The Ion Storm is a pretty good one. I mean, we can never forgive them for Daikatana, but like... what an incredibly strange joke. And for the, like, one person in the audience who recognizes that Ion Storm is the name of the developer that John Romero had founded that developed Daikatana. And yeah, every once in a while I will just bring up Daikatana just to be like, well, here, you want to... You want to be reminded of Daikatana? Because at this just such a piece of video game lore that I almost feel like this strong need every once in a while to remind people that yes, that actually happened. Thanks a lot, John Romero. I would ask why you're like this, but I don't think I actually want to know in the greater scheme. That might not be very good for me. And yes, I did in fact mention Daikatana for some reason. I don't always know why I would do something like that to someone, but here we are. Everybody enjoy being reminded about the existence of Daikatana. And by enjoy, I mean, well, not that, but it's too late to back out now. We've already signed this blood oath together. So that way we may both be reminded of the something of Daikatana. Power? I don't think I want to call that power. That seems a little bit incorrect. Let's just say my Daikatana, yeah. Oh god, do I actually have to play through that seriously one day? Please don't make me actually do... Well, okay. If you do actually make me do that, audience, get me to an amount of Twitch subs. Or, like, buy stuff on my wish list or something. I don't know. Not my Steam wish list, my other wish list. Where I keep Daikatana and Daikatana accessories. Which is a phrase that I don't think anybody's ever quite put together like that. And for good reason, too. Look out for the sparkly line of death and silly noises. There's lives there. Hey, put that in the right place. Come on. Game, what are you thinking? You're doing something silly here. There we go. Give you the extra damage and the buff to the thing. Plus, setting up to start picking at the next thing over. Next thing's over, in fact, for that matter. It's quite strong, but also apply the sharpen effect there, so that way we can start getting some more critical hits with the things, that way we can trigger the trigger card a little more often. These are our purple shots, which are kind of our default weapon, are at least decently frequent. I suppose I could be buffing something else instead, but hey. That would be nice. My name... Yeah, you guessed it. Wait. Gary Newman. People know who he is, but probably not his best songs. That's how it goes with a lot of artists, isn't it? So, first set of stars, bottom, and there's going to be a big spark at the top, so that at least is quite easy to avoid at this point, but we do have the fairly stout enemies who are coming in here, causing me a little bit of issue, a little bit of commotion here. Sharpen the Spirit Tornado. You'll notice I'm not picking up the Constitution. That's because I live in America where that doesn't exist anymore. Sorry, easy jokes, but at this point, you gotta laugh or you'll be very upset. Note that that's the logical or, so both those things can happen. And in fact, they quite frequently are a little bit comorbid. Fuck, we're really pushing it here. I'm just taking a look to see what any of these give me, but I think I'm just taking the one that gives me more damage, really, because of reasons. Didn't even realize we moved to stage 4. Again, I'm not sure what determines that. Is that just like total amount of time or something? What does it actually affect? Is it just how strong the enemies are? Total amount of them? Whatever it may be. Well, I couldn't say. Neat. Well, at least we seem to be getting a decent amount of somewhere now. That's neat. That's good. Oh. I like to think this is just entirely due to me playing better or something. Oh yeah, see, we got a new enemy palette. Well, it's not even completely a palette swap there, actually a slightly different sprite. At least this time. A little uniforms. Nice if we can get another. And we can just place that there and we get a large set of buffs for ourselves. There we go. That's nice. Say she should stop time. Yes, which... Hey, at least it's an interesting gimmick. I'd say I wonder if it affects the timer at the end of the stage, but we don't get to actually see exactly what sort of value that has, so... You know, in stage. So hard to say. And of course we drop to the standard enemy instead of the boss. Sort of to be expected. It's from me at this point. Oh, okay, these are used to increase our sort of basic abilities here, and then these add more sets of things we can get. hadn't been hashing that out. That might be across the entire character then. As opposed to being things that are tied to the one shot type. But that experience boost is dropping up real fast. That in there. That one I don't think we've seen yet. That is, yeah, that's a different one from the water type that we keep getting. And there's our Daikatana developer again. Keeps happening. Why do I keep bringing this up? It's because I'm some sort of clown or something. Like Kefka, but not anything like Kefka, actually. Come to think of it. I'm not a raid boss in 14. Again. Actually, the weird thing about UMAD is that I thought for sure that they already had... Well, I guess that's because I'm thinking of Omega 8 Savage, where they did have Kefka as the... Well, Kefka was the boss of the regular one, too. But the Savage one, because it was long and had multiple phases, and was at least partially based on the final boss version of, you know, from FF6. There. Oh, yeah. Well, actually, I guess the level is probably a little bit more effective right now, because boost both of those. I have to think once in a while when it comes to this leveling system. I don't like that. I don't like thinking. I'm not good at it. In fact, you might even say I love not thinking. Right? Wrong character. That up there. That'll be useful later on. I mean, it's still handy now, but more useful later on, I guess. That will be pretty good. Let's go for that one. Let's put it there. So I can put a level in the one corner and then have a bunch of passive stuff attached to it, and that should kind of be an effective way to clump them for high levels, I think. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, but right now I kind of want that, and then we'll worry about these shortly. Last two places to put levels for our main weapons. It really feels like, hey, yeah, upgrade those. That seems very important. I kind of neglected those a lot for a few runs, and later runs definitely seems like it did a lot more. The passives all sound nice, but, you know, because they affect everything, but don't fall into that. Late game Vampire Survivors, this ain't. There, and that will give us some real good value when we actually get that level, that catalyst level, whenever that shows up. The amount of upgrade I put into giving us more experience does seem to really be helping speed that along quite a bit, though. So that's excellent. You know, that's just on kill, so I don't even need that. Start doing this. And see, I told you, very good value. Well, at least I certainly implied it. And that is maybe the important part. Maybe. We'll buff up the piercing attacks, that way we can... It feels like that would be helpful, because it's going to hit more things, so... Alright, yeah, if we're taking something that gives us a better crit bonus damage, then getting something that directly increases crit rate would be pretty good for it. Holding down. Yeah, we've got a pretty large stamina meter at this point. Well, that does mean it takes a while to recharge, but hey. Yeah, so... bottom edge of the screen is where the Master Sparks are going to come in. Let's be careful about that. And yeah, as you can probably tell, a lot of our basic idea here got a little bit weird. But part of the thing we want to do is we want to have these... So that way, along the outer edge, it's basically a yellow then a blue, then a yellow then a blue, back and forth. And that should optimize our boosts there and get all of our global effects up to level 3. That part, at least, I think works in terms of... That's the only thing I can say for sure about anything to do with setting stuff up like this. Although, obviously, there's a couple of others that are getting further boosts that... Yeah. God, it really loves to feed me these constitution buffs. Really just wants to remind me of I live. Oh, what did I get hit by? I didn't see. Doesn't make me very happy. Oh, we at least seem to be protected from Mei Ling's kick there. That was kind of a surprise. In place, come on. Be such a stick in the mud or something, game. Whatever you're doing here. Alright, on to stage 4, which again looks kind of the same as we've been over. And I guess that will, actually, nah, let's put that there. Get ourselves that much more maximum stamina, because honestly, why not, right? This allows us some sense of impunity in our action. Ah! That's my fault. I keep forgetting that I don't get a lot of knockback with that. I'm thinking of the version of that effect from a different game. This is a bit of an issue when you play a lot of different games and also your brain barely works. And again, it's more like that time that I thought the enemy was weaker. I would really prefer if the game would give me more, like, damage dealing global effects. Unfortunately, it seems to really want to restrict those to just weapon buffs, but I don't really know that I have the space for that in the setup. I mean, a little bit of chance, fine, though.
You know what? Sure, we'll take a poison effect because that could be quite helpful, actually. Having a dot effect there of some kind. So it's a nice area of effect buff to everything there. Because now we're on stage 5. This time it just seems like our main change here is a lot more enemies. Not necessarily tougher yet. But that's sort of a, I don't know yet. We'll find out later, won't we? This is along the top area there. Yeah, see, the regen effects will be great. I don't know how much more maximum stamina I actually require. Well, I mean, we actually ran the meter down pretty low earlier, so I don't think it could hurt. Do that. Ow. Alright, be careful of this and spark at the top of the screen? Question mark? Yes. Although I don't know if there's going to be any further follow-up. There very well could be. Also, I keep thinking that the book is another meter that is waiting to get filled. So if you wanted good evidence of me being an idiot, there's that. Actually, let's put that there. There we go. Yeah, okay, that's maxed out, so there's not much call to take that. Yeah, though we will take the permafrost and see if that helps us out any with it. I mean, okay, these shots move a little bit slower. That's not that big of a deal, I don't think. Fuck. I am not getting out of here alive, am I? Oh, no, I did somehow. That's amazing. Take that. Just... gives us quite a lot, really. Oh, it's you again, huh? Just approach this with care. Hey, there we go. We got through an actual run. Wow. And we got quite a few achievements, I suppose. She looks like a lemming. Hooray! We beat a run. Wow. I saw a couple of reviews on the Steam page that were like, oh, well, you can finish it in like 3 hours. And I guess that depends very heavily on what you consider to be finishing, because we did beat a run in that time, but also we're clearly not finished with the game at this point. But I mean to play another couple of rounds here and just round out the 3 hours. It seems like it seems like it's still light out, but that's because I looked over at the window. Obviously I have a lamp on in my room and everything's looked the same for the past several hours. This is sort of, we're just gonna do this to grind out some experience and a little bit of a few more books. Because honestly, really, if you're using the easy mode as farming, it is slow as hell. I can say that much already. Jeez. I'm not a huge fan of that fact, but hey. I suppose they really want to push you to go for the higher difficulties because of obvious reasons. You're supposed to challenge yourself, something hard game franchise or whatever. That was me getting a little bit too excited with my reflexes there. Could have got all of those pretty easily without taking a hit if I had just been slightly faster on the draw, but I was not, so... Oh no. that. Perfect placement for that. At least it certainly feels like it. Okay, now we start building the structure of blue objects. Objects, I say it. I don't know why that was my go-to word there, is just objects. I mean, it's technically true, but to be a little more specific about it. Oops. I admit that I am playing a little bit higher risk here, but that's because I saw the ending. So I suppose at this point it really is just like, hey, the main thing you've got left in this is grinding, which admittedly it's that type of game, so that was kind of where you were at just to start with on some level. Yeah, depending on how you view certain aspects, I guess. That there. Okay, let me take a look at our options here. I think we're going to take that one. of use for the Sylphie horn. Let me that name in a funny way, but I won't bother. Too easy. We all know that I am completely above all of the easy jokes. I really can't say that with a straight face, but hey. Wouldn't be the only thing in me that's not straight. Right? Told you I'm all about I'm all about the easy jokes. Or I certainly implied that. And if you didn't pick up on it, oh well. Nah, we can take Ruin here and it'll give us a nice boost to several things. Because that placement. See, I told you that was pretty good. That. That's a bit more firing rate, and more notably, a weapon buff, which is something that I'm almost getting into the groove again of like screwing up and forgetting about. Oops, probably shouldn't do that. God, I didn't even realize we were up to that many lives total. I had completely been ignoring that after a certain point. Yeah, if we want the extra... we want the extra damage from the buffed crit mod there, we should definitely take that. Plus it'll be in a position where we put a level counter eventually. Right next to one, rather. Okay. Be a good place to put a level. Yeah, so we're just gonna take that for now. Then I don't have to think much about where I'd want to put a green. Somehow I didn't get hit there. I thought for sure I would. Yeah, see, like that. Was not well played. I think I'm just expecting to be dealing more damage at this point by a pretty wide margin too, but our boosts in that area have not been anywhere near as common as I would like them to be. There we go. That'll give us some damage back too, which I've been severely lacking in because that's probably a big part of why I wasn't able to finish some of these fights as fast as I'd like to. But again, part of it is just the whole being at the mercy of the RNG thing, which is supposed to be the balancing factor in Vampire Survivors, but I find that it is far too easy to get into a position where it's just like, okay, well, I just build the exact build I want to build. And then, like, now what? Okay, cool. Good. This game becomes the exact same every run. So glad. I mean, that's true of a lot of these roguelikes. You just sort of fall into a dominant strategy very easily. I don't even play Balatro that much anymore because of having that happen too readily. Perhaps the update will shake things up a little bit. I'm certainly hoping so. That would be nice. But I'm still not sure when that'll be. I think it was said it was going to be sometime this year, but that may not necessarily pan out in the greater scheme. I'm certainly hoping that it does, for obvious reasons, but who's to say until it actually arrives? this rate, I may as well just put my Switch copy in and play through that and unlock everything again. That just seems like the purview of someone who has gone completely insane. Well, at least it does to me. Not everyone will agree, and that's entirely fair. I don't expect you to. Wow, I did not even notice that one dagger coming for me. Well, at least this time I lost to a boss, I guess. Oh yeah, we get a neat little chart of our DPS. That's something. I haven't even been paying attention to that. Cool. Nice to have some statistics, I guess. It's very interesting. At least on paper it is. Worth spending the money on some of this stuff? I mean, I would love to get that extra amount, but I didn't say I'm thinking hell with it. I will spend on crit, but funnily enough, I'm one short of getting the next crit buff. But I may as well take it because I seem to roll the reaction spell that triggers on crit often enough that it might just be worth taking that as sort of an always thing. I've just assumed that you will want and need critical hit chance. Thing. Is this any good? This, I think, is actually kind of crap, if I recall correctly. Yeah, aiming that I seem to recall being just awful, so I'm going to skip over that for now, and so just go for this. Take the extra life. I wish it was a far more useful stat for the beginning, but hey. And there we are. Sylphie Horn to start off with. It's a little out of place there. That's funny. But it lands nicely at a place where I can just stick in an upgrade for later passive upgrades. Yeah, there's Ion Storm again. And as before, my strategy is usually just to try to get as many different weapons as I can to start with. Again, same sort of build that I do for Vampire Survivors, is just aim for weapons first, get passives later, because those are nice, but they don't necessarily help me win the game quite as well as all that. take the rebalance, because we're still in a position where our low damage output is something we can deal with. Especially when we have a weapon that fires in clusters as well as it does, like the horn. The old Magnus horn. Wait. No, that's something different. Pardon me. Lazy Trilithon is in kind of a shit position, really, but we'll take that. And we get things doing a nice wraparound there. And lastly, take the White Moisture, and yeah, I think we're good to go for now. Seems decent enough to me. Yeah, see, rebalance is much better now because we have our amount increase. Now I say basically just in general as of us getting that buff. Place that there, actually. Again, waiting for the catalyst will give us a big boost to everything all at once. And it's not there. Well, damn. Sure, we'll put the strength there. Again, even though we're in a very early position where it's like that's a little too much early on because of the cost, I think we'll be able to get away with this for now. Rebalance is already helping us out a little bit for that. So, and that offsets the cost and the rebalance a little bit. It's that. And continue. I do enjoy when the attack that procs on crit is still, like, popping off further away. That's kind of fun. There's something very amusing to me about that. When, like, all my shots seem to have got off screen, because it means that those that are still going. Which is amazing. that. Yeah, we're not getting great rolls from these levels this time. Like, eesh. It is a little unfortunate how that's going right now. There's the Stage 2 Master Spark. Next stage is the one where you get the 2 sets of stars and then the big blast. Weird noise. I thought for a second that I had lost a life because I was really cutting it close there. But nope, not quite. And oh my goodness, they do actually exist. Holy shit. After that long. Okay, game. I get it. Kinda. No, I don't. That. And unfortunately, our glint isn't going to get max level, which means I really should have just put a green thing there. But hey, who knows? Maybe we'll get a second one this round. I don't even know if that's possible. It definitely seems like there's some things you can only get 1 or 2 of per run here. But maybe I'm just not lucky in that regard. At least so far. Place that. Level up 2 of our weapons. And then we have a location set up for putting in a green thing. Assuming we draw a good one of those. We may not. It's always sort of the risk, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, there's strength, there's sharpen, which is much more important, honestly. Let's regen up there. Starts along the bottom. I feel like I always end up in such a position where it's like, okay, I'm building with at both ends with the outer blue ring, and just sort of like pinching the top. I just always get exactly the weird enough pull order for that to be a thing that feels sensible to do, I guess. Hey, wow, we didn't even run completely out of stamina there, despite what I thought was going to happen. Neat. Take that. Screen's looking a little dense, but not horribly so. We're sort of getting places here, at least. Yes, I think we are. That's 3. That also. Start working this way. Okay, I think those rings are actually just visual effects only, or perhaps they're for aiming where certain shots will be. Meanwhile, I really did just let a fairly generic enemy in my personal space like that. Whoops. Pretend that I'm trying to get you to believe that in my defense I was locked in. Yeah, let's go with that being what happened, and I wasn't just playing badly like some sort of buffoon. Yeah, well, here's our boss. Excellent. Just set these up as they come in. That's fine. We're quite strong right now, so I feel like I can get away at least a little bit with not necessarily picking up buffs right off the hop and just getting things that are, you know, cashing in on the future here, or to be cashed in on in the future, rather, if you wanted to say that the correct way, or at least a way that made sense. Ah! That thing didn't die. Whoops. Alright, so now as we place any of those, they should be getting boosts, because they'll be along the outer edge, no matter what. At least I got that going for me. Now let's take some more constitution. Let's lengthen that meter some. Probably gonna need it in this position especially. We don't have a whole lot of time to like stop and recover. We got at least a little bit, but not a ton. As you can see, yeah, not a ton. Oops. That was pretty bad. Yeah, remember bottom screen Master Spark here, and take that. Okay, Ruin can get attached to, honestly, most of these. Yeah, we'll put it there. Actually, sure, we'll take the strength buff for the close range weapon here. It is doing a lot of work for us, so seems like a fair idea. No worries, we'll get stamina buffs again later. I mean, surely. Yeah, there you go. Can't lie, I am sorely tempted to take the rubber for the other shot. So that way I can do something, but hey. We're fine. Everything is fine. This is an acceptable use of our resources, probably. Skip that. Good enough. Oh yeah, huge crowd of enemies right now around Marissa. So, we got some work to do cutting through them before we can actually get anywhere with this, right? And there's a nice big experience cluster there. Gotta play very carefully to get at. There we go. Take our fire rate boost. I wish we could give that to our piercing attack, but hey, the area is a little too clogged in that regard. Have we hit the wraparound point already? Or are we just being attacked from the other side now? I think we're just being attacked from the other side at this point. And we can give that a crit boost. Sure, why not? We can give that a little bit more critical hit chance. That. I was gonna say, I'm sorely tempted to try to go for a full grid of stuff, but I don't even know if that's possible. But hey, there we go. We beat another run. Yay, yay. Get a flat level 50. Yeah. I kind of wonder if there's another ending for a higher difficulty, but I'll look into that some other time. For now, that's going to do for this. Game's pretty cute. Very simple. Just about what I expected. It's fine. Overall, I will probably play the rest of this on my own time. It's like $5, probably less on sale. It's alright. Neat. Fun. Mostly. But yeah, that'll do for now. Not much more for me to say. To be honest, yeah.
interesting sense of level ups, though. I like that.